Hey guys, welcome to the show. And today I'm actually in New York covering Watch Week for the weekend, so keep an eye out for some of those videos coming out next week. But today I have a very special interview with Dave, who's been making YouTube content for almost 10 years. So I've got an interview with him coming up right after this. First, I want to thank you for taking the time. I know you are extremely busy.
It's a pleasure.
And yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time to participate. I know if I'm going to buy tech, I search through your archives first.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, to see if you've got a video on it, and I look it up. I look it up there first. So basically, you've been creating YouTube content specifically for the last 10 years.
Yes.
In that span, what's kind of been the biggest change that you've seen, either in YouTube or interacting with people in the comment section?
The single biggest change is obviously when I started, there was very few tech reviewers. There was a few people uploading just their experiences, or what we term as vlogs nowadays. But very few were doing what I would call serious content. The biggest change or transition I've seen over the years is, as technology has become more available, more people can gain access to becoming a creator and creating content. So, and that's swung round the comments to being more community driven rather than people really just wanting to know how to do what you're doing. And the level you'd have to go in at to produce the content, once I was doing it full time,
Yeah.
it was a big investment because the technology wasn't readily available to produce good quality content. Whereas now, as you probably know, you can pick up a smartphone,
Yeah,
record 4K quality video, and you're a YouTuber.
yeah, it's insane. How long did it take you from the time that you started in 2006 until you were till you managed to build a business model where you could do this full time?
It would be around about a year to a year and a half before I could say it was a full-time career.
Okay.
And I was in a very lucky position that my wife worked and still does, but she had a good job, and she said, look, if you really want to do this, then concentrate on it for a year. And she supported us 100%, both emotionally, because it's hard,
No
and financially for that first year. And then it was after that first year that you could see that the income it was generating was enough to make a business out of it.
So I know you're a watch collector as well. So what watch are you wearing at the moment?
I am wearing do a wristwatch check for you.
The Hulk.
The Hulk. So the Rolex 116610LV, if I remember correctly.
It's so nice. Have you gotten tired of it yet?
I had a wobble about 2 months ago. I haven't grown tired of it, but I got to a stage where I think it was actually, it probably wasn't 2 months ago. It was soon after Baselworld. And of course, we get the teasing of all these beautiful new timepieces. I've got three what I would call three main timepieces in my collection. And I was looking at the new watches and thinking, I really want to get the new Rolex Yachtmaster.
Oh yeah.
But I can't have, if I got it, I could not justify having 3 Rolexes in my collection. Not that it would be a bad thing by any means, but just something I'm not comfortable with would be having all 3. And I posted on the Urban Gentry, Tristano, our good friend. I posted on there that I was thinking of flipping the Hulk. Yeah. And gauging some feedback, and I had a lot of people say we'll buy it, but a lot of really good constructive feedback as well. Really just saying, think on it, think over the weekend how much you would miss it, put it away in a drawer and see if you miss it being there. And I did that. I put it away for a couple of days, and I can honestly say that I will never get rid of it.
You missed it.
I missed it straight away, and I would have, even though I'd have had a shiny new Rolex, latest model, I would have missed it, and I would have regretted it, because a lot of the timepieces that I have in my collection are purchased to mark an occasion. and I had worked extremely hard for, I think it was on the 8th year anniversary or thereabouts of the Geekanoids YouTube channel, of reaching 100,000 subscribers, and that was to mark that achievement.
Yeah.
So it would have been a big mistake.
Now I think, and I I remember seeing this video because I watch all the videos that you put out, and I remember seeing the video when you hit 100,000 subscribers. Did YouTube send you? Was it a silver button? I think I remember seeing in the
Yes,
video.
they did. Yeah, yeah, very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Sometimes I'm quite lucky in that respect. A lot of channels hit that 100,000 subscribers and they don't receive that button for a year and a half. And sometimes they've then gone on to 200,000 subscribers and they're just receiving that button. But because I'm on a multi-channel network, so I'm not directly partnered with Google.
Yeah.
I have contact with a manager. I have phone contact with a channel manager, and he rang and said, "Hey, you've hit 100,000. Click this link, and you can order your button." And it came, I think, in about 4 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, that was a great video. I remember I was so excited. I was like, "Man, that's so cool!" Because I didn't even know YouTube had programs or anything set up like that. And I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was
yeah. It's really good. I mean, I don't have a lot of certificates and things like that or trophies, but that was, I dedicated myself to the content and I thoroughly enjoyed doing it. And to get recognition, albeit at a push of a button, it's not somebody personally delivering it to you. It was just fantastic. So, and I was just really pleased that I'd achieved that.
So you're managing, I know you've got the Geekanoids channel, and that's the tech channel, which I'm a huge tech junkie. So, I love that one. And then, of course, the luxury lifestyle channel where, that's where I get to see a lot of the watches that you're looking at, or bags, shoes, different things. So how many channels are you managing actively total?
It is actually only 2 now. When Geekanoids reached, I think it was probably about the 50,000 mark. I was at that stage where I really wanted to share more content. I'm addicted to making video, and it didn't fit in with the channel if I put my personal lifestyle videos on there. So I split off onto another couple of channels. So I had the Daily Tech TV channel, which was purely Q&A videos, because the amount of questions I was getting in on the main channel made the video so long. And there was so much content going up on the one channel. So I split off to the Daily Tech TV channel just for the Q&As, and also a vlogging channel as well. But managing 3 channels with that amount of content became an absolute nightmare. It was so hard. YouTubers with even bigger followers than me, they were pulling back their content all onto one channel. And YouTube made a change as well when they introduced Google Plus, where they were really pushing you to have one channel and to use their new design of the channel homepage as like a bookshelf to present your different types of content. So I pulled it all back onto one channel for a little while, then split it off onto the other channel. I kept chopping and changing. So all of my main content, including the vlogs, all go up onto Geekanoids. The only thing that doesn't, as you rightly know, is the luxury videos, because they just don't gel at all.
I like that you've got it split, because I think that's, now I know it seems like a pretty decent amount of watch people also are pretty techie people, but it doesn't necessarily translate the other way around, where if people are tuning into Geekanoids for kind of that tech content, looking for what they should get, reviews on things, they're not necessarily all translating into being interested in some of the more, and a watch really is nothing but a luxury, right? Because we certainly don't need it. So no, I like that. I like that you have it split off. I definitely think that's probably the way to go to it. But I do wonder, because you've got your channels that you manage. You are so active on Instagram, Twitter. I follow you on both of those. You've got Facebook. You have your website that I visited, which is really nicely laid out. I have to wonder, when you're walking around, have you ever gotten, walking around with your wife, with your kids, have you ever gotten recognized, and is somebody trying to get some like quick tech advice from you on the go? Like, hey Dave, I got a question.
Sometimes when we go out locally, especially if I've got a camera with me, because even though I don't video everything, I normally have a camera to take photos. If we're on what I would call as a family day, I don't record video.
Yeah.
I will have a camera to take photographs. And I can remember going to a local event where it was like a little mini car show and sort of different traders and things like this, like a craft type fair on the side.
Yeah.
And to walk the length of that would have normally taken me about 30 minutes, and it must have taken me about 2.5 to 3 hours. Because so many people were coming up and saying, hey, you're Dave from Geekanoids, you know, what camera have you got? You know, do you think this one's a good camera? And it was good. It was absolutely fantastic. I even had one guy who'd been looking on websites for, I think he said about 6 to 9 months for an Olympus pen camera.
Yeah.
And he said he just couldn't decide. And I happened to be carrying an Olympus pen at the time. And he was like, would you mind if I held your camera, you know, just to get a feel? And I was like, no, fine, you know, and I let him take a few photos with it. And he was like, I'm so appreciative. And it's just great when you get that connection with the audience, because we're living behind a screen.
Yeah.
You know, so to actually meet somebody who appreciates what you do and's got an interest in what you do as well, it's just fantastic. That's what really makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, and I think it's a little bit surreal because, you know, obviously people will sometimes get to know content creators a little bit better than we always get to know them. And it also depends on, you know, how often they comment, how much they engage with you. Obviously, there are people on each of our channels that comment more regularly. So, you know, we've gotten to interact with them more and on more than one media platform.
Yeah.
But, you know, people definitely feel like, because you're the one making content, like, you know, they know you better than you know them. And it's kind of weird because when I went to the event in New York, I think the highlight of that whole trip is that, you know, I was walking through and talking with a lot of the micro brands, and I had my hoodie on because it was, for a Florida girl, it was really cold up there, right? I think it was only like 40 degrees, but I was freezing. Yeah. So, you know, I have my hoodie and my backpack, and I'm walking through and I'm talking to the people at Oris, and you know, I'm talking to her about something. Now that I've been carrying all the gear, it's starting to get, you know, a little bit warmer. And so I pull my sleeves up, and somebody walks up behind me as I'm talking to her. And she's like, oh, don't listen to her. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's always on my computer screen trying to tell me what to buy, you know? And I'm talking to this lady, and at first I'm like, what was that? I'm like, you know, like, all right, whatever. There's a lot going on in here. You know, and she's like, yeah, don't listen to CG. And finally I turn around, I'm like, do I know you? You know, I didn't really like, it didn't click. And he was like, oh, I love your channel. And then, so that was like my one and only time, you know, that I've been recognized. And I was so excited. After I got done talking to him, you know, I got a little video and some pictures of him. My wife was just like, man, I can't tell which one of you two was more excited. That was ridiculous. You know? I'm like, well, it was exciting, you know, but it's so weird, you know. And he was like, I wasn't sure if it was you until you pulled your sleeves up and I saw your tattoos, and those are, you know, as good as any features of identification, I guess. So
talking of tattoos, just another very quick funny story. I was picking up some groceries for my mum, and I'd parked sort of down the road a little way from the shop, was walking up towards the shop, and there was I had this guy standing on the opposite side of the road. He was big guy like this, with tattoos all up his arms, tattoo down here, and he was staring at me like so intensely. And I'm thinking, because I'm not very, you know, I'm sort of quite slim built. I'm thinking, should I cross over and go to a different shop completely? I thought, no, I just walk past, and as I walked past, his head turned and he's looking at me intensely. And then all of a sudden he says, "You're Dave." Everything changed then. He's like, "Fantastic, I can't believe I've met you." I said to him, I almost crossed over. So, but yeah, again, you know, he just couldn't believe he'd seen me. And but you put the fear of God into me by staring so intensely at me. Yeah, but so it happens, but it is great. It is great.
And I think it's hard to, when you, even though you see people, you know, all the time, like I mean, I think it's pretty fair to say I see you every day, you know, in a video or something. And I think it'd still be hard. Like if I saw you walking around in the mall or whatever, if you came over here, I came over there, I'd probably have to look a couple times. I'd be like, oh, I'm not sure if that's Dave. Yeah. And then you don't want to have that awkward moment. And I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but it's happened to me where I'm, you know, walking and I think I see someone I know and I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? And they're kind of like, and I'm like, oh, damn, it's not who I thought it was. Well, time to go, babe. Pack it up.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, I've been mistaken. There's another gadget show presenter over here on the gadget show on television called Jason Bradbury.
Yeah.
And at certain stages throughout my life, when this doesn't grow back very much, I shave it quite close, and he's completely bald. He's shaved sort of, you know, shiny bald.
Yeah.
And I've been mistaken for him at least half a dozen times.
And when somebody does that to you, you don't want to embarrass them. So you're just like, oh, hey, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I have that quite often. Somebody would tweet me and say, I saw you, but didn't want to say hello. And I'm like, oh, you should have just come up, you know, I wouldn't bite sort of thing. But
you got to you got to have a little Geekanoids logo on all your shirts so everybody knows it's you for sure.
Yeah.
You know, or on your keychain or something. You know.
If I do that, I can't go into the Apple store. They don't like me in there. So they spot me going in there and they're like, no recording, okay?
I think Samsung's not going to let you in the store anymore now after although it's their fault.
I'm not too sure. I think they're okay. I think I got a very nice message from them actually. Because they for those of you who don't know, I had a problem with my Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge and just received some really terrible customer service. And I'm very, let's say, professional about things. If I have a problem with something, I don't just straight away go on Twitter and sort of tweet about it. I try and get a resolution as what I would call a regular member of the public. Yeah. I always do that first. But when it gets to a stage where I'm just not getting anywhere, I think, right, I've got to make a video about it and I've got to share that with my audience because I think that's the responsible thing to do.
Yeah.
Within half an hour of putting that video up, they contacted me and still they couldn't give a resolution. Eventually, without reciting the whole video, but eventually I got a resolution and I got it sorted out. And I made an update video about it.
Yeah, I saw that last night.
And yeah, and they were really cool about it. They contacted me and said, thank you so much for making both the first video and the update video to highlight the problems. And they're going to play that video back at a couple of their meetings. So it's
really,
yeah. So if that's helped to a certain degree, if that helps other people get good customer service, then great. But I think the real message from the video is that it shouldn't be that way. You know, you shouldn't have to have a big following to get the service you need.
Speaking of brands,
yes.
Let's. What are your favorite watch brands? I'm going to go ahead and say Rolex is one of them. But what are some of your other favorites?
Obviously, Rolex. I really love what Omega do with some of their timepieces.
Yeah.
But I don't like all of the special and limited editions that they do. I think there's too many.
Mm-hmm.
And that puts me off a lot of what they produce. Of the rest of the brands, I think the most interesting, especially of late, are Seiko. I think they produce some fantastic timepieces. I've got one of their divers in my collection already. And some of the announcements again that they made at Baselworld this year, absolutely fantastic value propositions for what they offer, and the attention to detail they give to their timepieces as well, and the craftsmanship and the overall quality is fantastic, and it gives people a great opportunity to get an interest in watches without having to spend these thousands and thousands of pounds or dollars on some of the other brands. I really like what they do. Another brand, actually, I've got this only arrived this morning.
Sneak peek.
This is
oh yes.
And I've been looking at their timepieces for a long time. One of my favourite colours is orange.
Okay.
Look at that on the front cover.
I love those, the highlights on that subdial.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. That's probably going to be one that I want to have a look at in person first before committing to purchasing one. But I think that they go unnoticed a lot with what they produce, because they're one of the smaller brands, and one of the brands that only really people within the watch world know about.
Incredibly impressive brand, though. Incredibly impressive.
I've never seen one. Have you seen one of them?
Yeah. Yes, I have. I have. I was able to see them at a couple of get-togethers that I've gone to, where people are all bringing in a lot of the items that they have, and I got to see 2 of their pieces, and it really is impressive. And then when you go through their catalog, like the one that you've got, and you consider, at first they were having to use a lot of base ETA movements and other Swiss movements, but they're getting to a point now where they're producing their own movements, and they have Glashütte behind them as well. So what I think the quality that they're able to produce at the price point that they're offering it, you're looking at a very small percentage of companies that can meet that quality at that price point.
Yeah.
And they're very impressively one of them. And they, they are their own designs. It's almost very German in a sense, right? But they're beautiful pieces. There's definitely I definitely want to have one of them at some point. And unfortunately, the ones that they offer with the date are, they're not as big with putting the date, because it breaks the dial aesthetically. I get that. So I need to grow out of that at some point, I guess, where I have to have the date. But for now, it's kind of still one of those crippling things. So that segues me into what are you thinking about getting next? Do you have your eye on anything in particular, or are you just kind of shopping around to see?
I have 2 timepieces that will definitely make it into my collection this year. One of them is the new Seiko. They've got a line called Presage. Yeah. And they start around about, in the UK, about £400, equivalent of about $600.
Yep.
Mid-range is £800, which I believe is about $1,200. And then they go up to just shy of £2,000.
Okay.
And I'm going to add one of their mid-range, which is the Seiko Presage multi-hand.
Okay.
Model numbers SPB041J1.
Okay.
And it's just a lovely looking timepiece. It's got a small, it's got an hour and minute regular seconds hand. It's got a date dial at 6 o'clock, and then a power reserve indicator at 9 o'clock. And it just looks absolutely gorgeous. And I think that is going to be the value proposition for this year. It just is such a stunning timepiece. Caliber 6R27 movement. So it's an in-house movement, which is great. Case depth is 13.1 millimeters, which isn't too bad.
No, it's not.
100 meter, water resistant as well. Not sure what the power reserve is on there. I would imagine it's around about the 40 to 42 hour mark.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Looks very nice. And that's the mid-range one in their new releases. And I think it's just such great value for money.
I don't think, honestly, and I'm trying to run through them in my head, but I think they are the only brand that allows you to grow. You could be a starting collector, right? Picking up your first expensive piece. Maybe it's an SKX, what you consider expensive at the time. Maybe you start with a couple Seiko 5s. What's really incredible about them is that it's the one brand that you could stick with through your entire watch collecting phase or evolution as a collector.
Yes.
And have no need to leave the brand, to have something from a quartz piece if you wanted, all the way up to automatic, to mid-range, to high-end with Grand Seiko, some of their spring drive movements, the mid-range Marine Masters. And you can find all that in one brand. Now, obviously, there's a lot to appreciate outside the brand. But what other brand can you do that with? What other brand can you find something under $100 and then as you learn and as your tastes develop, go after something like a high beat quartz, you know, movement, or a spring drive Grand Seiko, and stay essentially under the same hat.
Yeah. There's not many other. I can't think of a single brand that offers that.
I think that's part of what makes them so impressive. I think, you know. And so that's the first piece you're looking at.
Yes.
What's the next one?
The next one is from Montblanc.
Okay.
Again, I think that they're obviously well known for their pens. I personally love their pens, and have a few in a small collection that's building. And I think their timepieces are very understated and just very classy looking, more to the side of dress watches.
Yeah.
And they announced a lot of new timepieces again this year. One of them's part of their heritage collection, and it's a twin counter date. So this has got hour and minute hands. It's got a seconds dial at 9 o'clock and a date dial at 3 o'clock. I think they're gold plated applied indices on this particular one, and a highly polished case. But I'm looking for adding a really nice dress watch to my collection, and I think that really does fit the bill.
Are those are blued hands on the subdials, I think. So
yes, on the subdial, blue anodized hands.
Yeah.
And then on the date window and the seconds complication, the 60 and the 31 are in red, just to highlight them, which I think is just a nice little touch of colour. But what Montblanc do with a lot of their timepieces, and I've been looking at them for a good while, at least the last couple of years, I've been really considering adding one, is that even with their timepieces that have got lots of complications, they still manage to keep them very clean. And very classic looking, and that's what I like. Maybe it's because I'm getting older and I'm appreciating that more, but I just think it would really suit my sort of lifestyle when I go out in the evening, go out for a nice meal, or to the occasional event that isn't tech related. And that's the sort of timepiece that I would gravitate towards.
It's very smart. I like it. It does have a very clean design. What's, in your opinion, the size of an ideal manageable collection where you have enough watches, where you feel like you've got enough variety for what you're looking for, but where it hasn't bloated to where you kind of get anxiety and they're not all getting along as they should?
Yeah. I think it differs so much, doesn't it, for so many different people. I would relate it to technology. I don't have a massive collection of technology, even though I love my cameras. I always keep my main production camera, a photography related camera, and then for the commercial videos I've got a high-end camera, and that's pretty much it. You know, I wouldn't keep more than those three. I don't think I would ever exceed probably 6 or 7 pieces in my collection, because there's only 7 days in the week. I think at that stage I would become uncomfortable. At the moment I've got 4 timepieces in
What are they?
my
What
collection.
have you got?
So I've got the Rolex Hulk. I've got a Rolex Datejust 2. I've got the Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch, the numbered edition in the reduced size, and SKX 009, which I would wear if I know I'm doing an activity that is going to get bashed around. I've got a connection to pretty much those 4 that I've got in my collection. Again, they're all purchased, apart from the Seiko. The other 3 were purchased to mark an achievement. So I can't see me ever getting rid of those other 3. And the Seiko stays there because it's a fantastic watch.
And you don't have to worry about new operating systems or upgrades. So those are good for as long as you want them.
No, exactly. And you saying that, actually, it's probably one of the biggest surprises that people have had over on the tech channel, not on the luxury lifestyle channel, is that the Apple Watch came out and I was expected to like it. You know, people had that expectation that I would get it in and review it, which of course I did, and I didn't keep it. And the amount of hate email I got and comments, and I think I probably got about 3 death threats from
Did
that
you
video.
really?
Yeah, really
Oh.
quite strongly worded. Because how could I not like a smartwatch?
Oh,
You know?
wow, that's surprising. Well, I guess if they don't know that you know you're kind of a conventional wristwatch kind of guy, and if they think you're an Apple fanboy, I guess they would be surprised that you wouldn't
Yeah,
like it.
yeah. And you haven't even asked what's on my other wrist.
What do you have? Oh, is that your Fitbit?
That is the Fitbit.
Oh, I saw you unbox that one. I kind of liked it.
Yeah. Now this is pushing my comfort zone, because for years and years I've always had the smaller Fitbit. One of the main things that I like is obviously the health tracking.
Yeah.
And if you've got to charge something every day or day and a half, you've not got it on your wrist, so it's not tracking what you want it to do.
Yeah.
You know, I know people buy the smartwatches for other reasons other than just health tracking, but I just think it's a convergence of technologies that I don't need.
I can put the phone down and be disconnected for the time that we're doing whatever we're doing as a family. So if I had a smartwatch that was now making sure I know from a distance what's going on my phone,
Yeah.
I wouldn't survive. I think my wife would take a hammer to that in about 10 seconds.
Yeah. It is a big distraction, and for me, I just the way I handle it is most of the notifications are turned off on my iPhone, so I don't have Instagram notifications or Facebook. When I had those on,
yeah,
my battery wouldn't last more than half a day because it would be going just continually.
all day. Yeah.
And this is a good tip for anyone that works for themselves, is be very strict with yourself and set specific times to do specific things, because otherwise you'll get nothing done at all.
Yeah.
So I have I say a day. It's when I'm busy, it does spill over into extra days, but generally I have one day where I record a week, apart from when I'm doing my personal videos, you know, the daily vlogs.
Yeah.
And then I have a day where I'm editing, and then another day when I am dealing with emails, and they don't get dealt with until that time, because otherwise if I keep switching backwards and forwards, you just never get anything done. You never get one project complete.
So I've got one more question for you here. We've talked about the pieces that you currently have, the 2 pieces that you're hoping to add this year, which would bring you to about that mark number of pieces that you're comfortable with having. Do you have a grail piece? Do you have a piece in mind that would be a grail for you?
Not a specific piece, I don't think. I love AP. I think they do some fantastic timepieces. And I love their Royal Oak offshore. I really like that whole collection. And at the same time, because I've got this real connection to Rolex, the Rolex Pearlmaster 39 in gold is something that has caught my attention. And that's the big if I could pull it off.
Yeah.
So again, it would have to be at a stage in my life where I felt that I'd achieved enough to warrant me having that timepiece.
Yeah.
I'm not that an extravagant person to just buy something on a whim. There has to be a reason behind buying it for me. You know, I justify my tech purchases because I create content.
Yeah.
And I justify my timepieces because I've achieved something throughout that year, or I've, you know, worked extremely hard at something, and I've managed to get to a place where I want to be in my life. So that there's that reward there. I've worked hard, so why not? So I couldn't just buy one without having a really good reason to. But if you wanted to put me on the spot, it would probably be the Rolex Pearlmaster.
Well, Dave, listen, I want to thank you again so much for participating, you know, and giving me an hour of your time, which, you know, is not easy to come by. I really appreciate you participating in the show. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I really hope that we get to do this again.
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. You've got a fantastic channel, and I watch your videos regularly because you give so much insight into your watch collection. So thanks for creating great content as well.
I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and make sure you check out Dave on the Geekanoids channel and the Luxury Lifestyle channel. Links to both his channels are going to be in the video description. Once again, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And as usual, if this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. That's it for this one. CG, out.